Hey, y'all. Today's Rangers game memory goes back to 2015. Rangers Tigers. Remember, the Rangers started 2015 really poorly. It was the beginning of the Jeff Bannister era. They were 7-14 over their first 21 games, 8-16 over their first 24, and then put together a really good month of May to get back in the conversation for the AL West crown, just the race. Now, the Astros got off to this tremendous start, and while the Rangers got back in it in May, the Astros were still out in front of everyone, and as you know, the Rangers end up clinching the AL West on the final day of the season. They end up overtaking the Astros. They swept them in a 4-game series in Arlington. In the second half of the season, a critical moment or stretch of moments which the Rangers entered that series 2 games back of the Astros, and by winning all 4, they were 2 up. The Rangers blew a big lead on the Saturday, game 161, that prevented them from clinching a day before, and they end up making the playoffs, and unfortunately they give up a 2-game lead over the Blue Jays and lose in the ALDS, but that season was really cool because the Rangers were not favored to win the division. They didn't get off to a good start. They were the underdogs before the season, and once the season had really established itself, they remained the underdogs. And there were some critical games in the second half that, close ball games that the Rangers won, maybe because of a big moment here, a big moment there. And, what I remember about that team is that so many different guys contributed, maybe not all in the same way, maybe not all in big ways, but guys who had smaller roles had moments where they played to their role. And Drew Stubbs was one of those guys. I remember Drew Stubbs when he was at the University of Texas. He was a big deal there. And I went to go watch him play. I think Rice was in this tournament at Minute Maid Park. It was called the Minute Maid Classic. I went down with some buddies, and it was really cool. I think those might have been really the first college baseball games I ever got the chance to see. But so I kind of followed Drew Stubbs' career. He got off to a good start, but never really was able to sustain offensive success. But freak athlete, really good in the outfield. So Delano DeShields was still newish to center field, and oftentimes late in games that year, once they got Drew Stubbs, he would come in as a defensive replacement if the Rangers were winning. Well, this is a late September game, September 29th. This is the final series, the penultimate series of the season for the Rangers. So the final series before that Angels series in which the Rangers clinched the division. And at this time, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, they could do anything from win the division to miss the playoffs. I mean, it was a really, really close race. And the Rangers and Tigers played, this was the second of 3 games in that series. I just want to get the score. The first game the Rangers lost. Justin Verlander outdueled Colby Lewis. And in this game, Daniel Norris started for the Tigers, Cole Hamels for the Rangers. Well, it was not your typical Cole Hamels start. The Rangers gave up 2 in the first, but then scored 5 in the first. The Tigers got 2 in the second. The Rangers got 1 in the second. The Tigers got 2 in the third. The Rangers then broke the tie, getting 1 in the fourth, and they led 7-6. This is through 4 innings, and the score remained 7-6 through 8 innings. And then in the top of the 9th inning, Drew Stubbs came into center field. Sean Tollison was on to close it out. This was a part of his stretch of 5 straight days and 5 straight games pitched. And he got the first guy out. I'm just looking at the play-by-play. He got Alex Avila to ground out. And then he gave up a single to Tyler Collins, a single to Anthony Gose. Rajai Davis popped out on a bunt. And then Ian Kinsler came up. And Ian Kinsler hit a ball to right center field. He's a right-handed batter, slicing away from the center fielder. And off the bat, there was no chance in heck anyone was going to catch it. This was going to be a 2-run double, maybe triple. The Tigers were going to take the lead, and the Rangers were going to fall behind in this pivotal game. And then out of nowhere, what's the guy in Atlanta, Mr. Freeze or whatever, who runs along the warning track? Drew Stubbs just darted like lightning and reached out, and he didn't dive, didn't have to leave his feet, but was like full extension and made this unbelievable catch covering all sorts of ground in right center field, robbing Ian Kinsler, ending the game, giving the Rangers the win. And, you hear people talk about how sometimes the best defensive plays aren't the ones in which the guy dives or slides, because they did such a great job of getting there in a speed in which they didn't need to dive or slide. And that was that. I mean, Drew Stubbs got a perfect jump. He used every little last bit of his speed and was able to make this critical catch in this critical moment of a game in the most critical part of the season. And I just remember the range of emotions as I saw the ball leave Ian Kinsler's bat to the time Drew Stubbs made the catch. It felt like, oh my gosh, we're not going to the playoffs, we're blowing this, to yes, we got it, we're going to the playoffs. Even though they didn't clinch anything, it was a big win that helped the Rangers in their pursuit of what ultimately would become an AL West crown. That's my Rangers memory for today. Hope you enjoyed.